Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome on into Let's Bet It, presented by Superbook Sports. I'm Lauren Jabara. That's Jared Smith. Jared, we are now down to the World Cup finals this Sunday. The semis are done and dusted. We have bowl season starting this weekend. We have NFL Week 15. Lots going on. How are you feeling on this Thursday morning?
Feeling okay. It's an exciting week.
Yeah.
Bowl season tomorrow, which, man, college football season just completely flew by, as it usually does, right? And I'm waiting. I'm waiting for one of these games for prop numbers to drop. I'm actually going to start for those. I've gotten a ton of people that ask me. Usually my DMs are flooded for bad reasons, but for this week it was good reasons. People asking me when I'm going to start giving out my bowl picks. Last year was a very good year for the bowl thread, which will be starting again. I don't know if it'll be tonight, probably tomorrow morning, because tonight I've got to write a column for NFL. So we will we'll get the bowl picks back up and running. Oh, excuse me. Goodness gracious. I need like a
Jeez, it is Thursday.
All right, I think we're okay. Bowl picks, yes, back tomorrow. Very exciting. I think college football bowl season's like my favorite. That's like my favorite 2-week stretch of the year. It's like every day for 2 weeks. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the most wonderful time of the year. But we have a lot to get into today.
You haven't sung for us in a while,
Cup.
actually.
I know. Well, there you go. There's your little treat on this Thursday morning. I know I've been so tired, but I'm good now.
Holiday
like baby last night. Yeah, seriously. Okay, we're going to get into some World Cup. We have NFL Would You Rather, Thursday Night Football with our guy Bobby Stanley, and then we have to break down a couple bowl games that we're going to be seeing this weekend. So first of all, let's get into the World Cup. It is now set. We have Argentina taking on France. It's basically a heavyweight battle at this point for the finals, right? We have Lionel Messi taking on Kylian Mbappe. When you say that too fast, you can't say it. But I feel like this is going to be a really, really fun matchup to watch. France has been phenomenal. They've been playing with pace. They've been playing very precise. Argentina, watched them against Morocco, how Morocco was able to put pressure on them a little bit in the semifinal. Maybe they'll take a page out of Morocco's book, except for they'll actually score the ball. What are you expecting from this World Cup final matchup?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I've been so wrong about this World Cup. So probably bet France because I like Argentina. Messi's got the magic, and I think there's a little bit of rallying around their, the world, the hero of Argentina, who the only trophy he's yet to put on his mantle is the one that he'll be playing for on Sunday. And he's been very close multiple times, or one time really, losing in the final 8 years ago. And I think this is an Argentina team that looks poised, right? They beat the Croatian side, which is a very possessive side, and they made them look really unpossessive, frankly. And I think, to me, that's the pick. But I've been really wrong in this World Cup a lot. So take it for what you will. But I would take Messi over Mbappe on Sunday.
That game is on Sunday, so make sure to tune in. I'm sure we'll be breaking it down a lot more before that game starts. So make sure to tune in here to Pickswise, and we'll give you a full-on handicap of that game. All right, let's get into some NFL. Would you rather? Right now, Jared, to win the Super Bowl, would you take the Cowboys at 8-1 or the 49ers at also 8-1 odds to win the Super Bowl right now of the season?
Is it kind of surprising to you that they have the same odds, yet one of the
Yes, a little.
quarterbacks is obviously significantly less experienced, less everything than the Dallas one, right? And there is a
Hmm.
chance, just like the Dumb and Dumber line. So you're telling me there's a chance. There is a
Just
chance that
saying there's
Jimmy
a
G
chance.
does come back in the playoffs. And I don't know what he'll look like. I don't know if the Niners care to put him back in, what his status will be, but the door is not closed on Jimmy G. So you have to at least keep that in the back of your mind when you're making this bet. But I don't know, like I can't tell you what his health level will be if he does come back. And do you want to start a guy cold that hasn't played, and it'll be about 6 weeks or so when the playoffs start? I don't know what that's going to look like. On the other side with Dallas, I mean, listen, both of these teams are kind of mirror images of each other. They both have incredibly good defenses, top 5 pass rush types of defenses. They both have very good offensive minds, I would say. I know Mike McCarthy's had his issues with certain situational coaching, but he's still a really good offensive mind. And I would obviously say the same about Kyle Shanahan. Both offenses have weapons upon weapons out the wazoo, right? But I think
Hmm.
Dallas is a little more polished because of Dak, even though they almost lost to the Texans on Sunday. So I would lean Dallas here, but I'll be honest, I don't think either of these teams are going to hoist the Lombardi Trophy this year.
Who do you think is going to?
So it's a fantastic question. Um,
Eagles, maybe? Bills?
can
Chiefs?
I be honest here? Like, if is this like a
Yeah.
cone of the cone of silence, right? The protection
The
or
tree of
circle of trust.
trust.
The
Tree
tree
of
of
trust.
trust with all of our hundreds of Pickswise people watching right now. I think the
Yes.
Bengals are going to win it this year.
Wow. That's okay. What day is it? It is December 15th at 10:07 I almost said PM, 10:07 a.m. Eastern
I
time.
hope it's not
Jared Smith
10:07 p.m.
thinks that maybe the Bengals are going to win. I like it. It's a bold prediction, but I do like it the way that they're
I
rolling right
have them.
now.
I mean,
Look
I
at them
bet
breaking
them a
that
couple
down.
weeks ago. I tweeted
Yeah.
it out when the day that they faced the Chiefs was kind of the tipping point for me, because I thought if they won that game, it would be like an accelerator to their odds, because when you have a win over Kansas City in your back pocket in the regular season, the market's going to look at you a lot different because they have been one of the favorites. I kind of get these Joe Burr vibes, right? It seems
Yeah.
like they're out for blood.
I mean, the way that they've been playing, they're phenomenal. Kind of a little revenge from last season. They're heating up at the right time. They're getting healthy
Yeah.
at the right time. I like it. I really
They
do.
face the
Bold,
Bills in
but
2 weeks. They face the Bills at
bold,
home in 2 weeks in a game that could decide the number 1 seed in the AFC. It might.
bold,
It
but
just might.
big if true. Big if true. Let's get
Big
into
if true.
offensive rookie of the year. Would you take Garrett Wilson at plus 170 right now? 63
Mm,
receptions, 868 yards, 4 touchdowns, 13-point average per catch. Or would you take the field?
mm. What's the rest of the field look like right now? Like, isn't George Pickens still in the mix?
Yeah, he's
But
still in the mix.
Pickens has to deal with the Trubisky train on Sunday, probably.
Hmm.
That's not very good. Let's look here. Christian Watson's
Yes,
intriguing. Hasn't he caught like 1,000 touchdown passes in the last like 3 weeks? He's an
I
intriguing
think
guy.
so.
I mean, yeah, Kenneth Walker comes back tonight,
Three to
and
one. Hmm.
yeah, that one's intriguing because he's been the favorite for most of the year. It's just been this little stretch of getting injured that has kind of knocked him off the perch. Let's just leave it at this. If you like Seattle tonight, you can make worse bets than Kenneth Walker at 3 to 1, because you would think that if Seattle does win, he's going to be a big reason why. And if you put a postseason berth in Seattle's back pocket and he's the leading rusher amongst all rookies, I think that would be the guy that I might choose if he comes back strong from
Hmm.
this injury.
What about a team to make the playoffs? You obviously know how I'm going to lean on this one. It's the Lions at plus 270 or the Panthers at plus 330. Right now, the Lions have the Jets this week, and then they head against the Panthers next week. Then they have the Bears and the Packers. Those are four winnable games, in my opinion. The Panthers have the Steelers this week, the Lions next week, the Bucks after that, and then the Saints to finish it out on January 8th. Who would you say has a better chance at this point of making the playoffs? Because both of them probably have to win out.
Yeah, and they both face each other, which is a
Yeah.
very intriguing
Next
game
week.
next week. Yeah, that game's going to matter a lot. And based on the power ratings, let me take a look here really quick. I think it's fair to say that the Panthers are going to be maybe a slight underdog in that game. I don't know. Detroit's power rating over the last couple of weeks is really improved. So you might actually be able to get the Panthers, depending on the results of this week, of course, as a home underdog next week. Actually, those look ahead lines should be out. If you give me one moment here, that's a very intriguing game. Yeah, actually, Carolina's a 2.5-point underdog on the look ahead next week. So here's how I would play it if I'm spitballing right now. I would put a sprinkle this week on Carolina to win the South. And then you piggyback that next week with, you would think maybe you get a 3 if Detroit wins handily on Sunday and Carolina loses. And that's your kind of backup bet, right? Like, I think the better bet to make right now is the Panthers to win the NFC South. I think you're actually getting a little more juice for that because the odds of a 5-8 team making the wild card, I think, are pretty slim. So it's really the NFC South or bust, I think, for Carolina. And Tampa Bay's got a really tough game this week against our Bengals, my Bengals now. And I think that'll be the tipping point. Carolina beats Pittsburgh, by the way. That's one of my picks in my column. It's going to drop tonight. And then the Bengals lose, or the Bengals beat the Bucks. All of a sudden, Carolina's got the lead in the NFC South with 3 weeks to go. And then you can play off of it next week with that Detroit-Carolina game. So I wouldn't bet either of these right here on your screen. I would bet Carolina to win the NFC South, and then I would wait till next week, and we'll reassess the market when we get a head-to-head matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm still taking the Lions at plus 270 at this point to make the postseason. I think that they have a really good chance of winning out. And obviously, I'm rooting for them because they're my team. But the way that they've been playing, the way that they've been trending, they've been averaging over 33 points per game over the last 5 weeks. And they've also been only allowing around 20 points over the last 5 weeks. So they've been feeling it right now. But for the Panthers to win the South, plus 315 could be a good bet. We have one game today to kick off week 15. So for that, let's bring in our guy, Bobby Stanley, prop Holliday, to break down our Thursday night football game and Thursday night football props that we have going on. The 49ers taking on the Seahawks in Seattle. The Niners laying 3.5 points. Look at him with that Pickswise hat. He's just repping the brand and ready to get popping. How are we today?
What up, guys? Happy Thursday. How's everybody doing?
Happy Thursday. We're good.
Give us some winners. Much better off if you give us some damn winners, because Lauren and I, one of us is going to win tonight. So you need to decide. You need to break the tie between us and give us some winners here.
Rumor has it that Jared is going to do a swag bet today.
No. I've learned my lesson on swag bets. She's tried to sucker me into a swag bet every day for the last 2 weeks, Bobby. She's tried to sucker me into swag bets on everything, and I'm not taking the bait anymore. I've been doing really well since I stopped doing swag bets. It's not a correlation there.
Bring me up to speed. Is it a hoodie? Is it a hat? Is it a scarf? What
it ain't nothing anymore.
It changed every week. Yeah, he had a couple that he had a Michigan shirt. One of them that he had, I don't even know. I don't even think
he wore an Ohio shirt one time.
Oh, yeah, you wore an Ohio shirt.
That was the ugliest shirt in the history of shirts. I threw it out.
And it was just medium.
It was gross.
It was two sizes too small.
I gave it to the dog in his bed. He slept with it for a few weeks, and then eventually I just threw it out because I couldn't bear to look at it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, go blue. That's all I have to say about that. But Bobby Stanley, we have a lot to get into today because you have some red-hot props for us. Yes. We have the Niners taking on the Seahawks. Obviously, the Niners and Brock Purdy won over Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last week, he was 16 of 21, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Seahawks lost to the Panthers, in week 14. They need to continue to win if they want to maybe sneak into that wild card playoff spot. It's do or die for them at this point. Walk me through George Kittle. Why you like him tonight?
So Kittle on the receptions prop. It's over 3.5. It's a really good line at the 3.5. This is a must-win game for San Fran because if they win, they clinch the division and they secure a top 3 seed in the NFC. So very important for them to get this win under their belt. Purdy on the road for the first time in Seattle, of all places. I went there a few years ago to see Rams Seahawks. It was the loudest stadium I've ever been to. I'm expecting a lot of silent count, a little run-heavy approach, a little short passing game. So going on with that short passing game, there's no Deebo Samuel tonight. Deebo's ADOT was 3.4 yards. Last week, Kittle 2.8. I think they get the hands in the ball of their short yardage target, and they try to move the chains and really chew up the clock. So all these short yardage targets, I think they funneled to Kittle tonight. He was averaging 5 targets per game. I think that goes up to 6 or 7 tonight, say for him to hit 4 receptions. Seattle against tight ends, 27th overall in DVOA. They give up 7.8 targets per game. And Kittle on the road, 4 out of 5 games he's hit this line on the road this season. So give me Kittle over 3.5 receptions.
Yeah, I love the DVOA number. Those are probably the most actionable DVOA statistics you can give because it's just some defenses just don't cover certain areas of the field really well, and that metric grades it very, very well. That is a very, very intriguing look tonight. I didn't even look at the tight end DVOA. Usually I do look at it before games, on Friday night, Saturday mornings. I didn't look at it tonight, but that's a really good nugget. All right, Kenneth Walker back tonight. I think the Kenneth Walker touchdown bet is kind of correlated, right, to your Geno Smith attempts under prop. Like that kind of goes hand in hand. If it's a Kenneth Walker game and it's a run game and it's a Seahawks control the game script, then yes, Geno going under his pass attempts is kind of the correlated prop there. So set me up on both angles there, Bobby.
Let me start off with Geno, under 33.5 pass attempts. And the number is really what I like. So Seattle's run game at home, it's been more successful this season. Geno Smith at home, only 35 pass attempts per game. And yes, that's above this line. But then I look at San Fran. They're only allowing 30.5 pass per attempts on the road this season. And they're one of the slowest paced teams. They eat up that play clock and they control the time of possession. So I think there's going to be a little bit fewer opportunities for Geno to pass the ball. I do think it's going to be a lower scoring game. It's going to be tough for Purdy coming out of the gate. If you get a lower scoring game from San Fran out of the gate, I think you're going to see Seattle really lean on that run game and Kenneth Walker. So all these factors put together, I think we go under on Geno's pass attempts. And then we talked about Kenneth Walker and that touchdown, plus 105. I love my touchdown scores at plus 105. I love my touchdown scores at plus money. I should say it that way. Walker scored a touchdown in every home game this season that he started. And if the Seahawks are going to pull this one off, he's going to. It's been I think 3 or 4 starts at home in Seattle. He scored a touchdown in every single one.
Love that
plus
nugget.
105. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. We're seeing the 43.5. It's tough. It's tough for Shanahan to win on the road in Seattle. Since 2017, he's 1-4 in Seattle. So this one not going to be exciting from a point standpoint, but I do think we can hammer some player props this way.
What was your take on Brock Purdy last week? I know that a lot of the reason why the 49ers won was because of their defense, right? But Purdy, for his first start, Mr. Irrelevant, is looking pretty relevant to this 49ers team right now.
I don't think you could have had a better start. I mean, he was insanely efficient. He was when he picked up the blitz, he was able to get the ball out and take shots downfield. He didn't look like Mr. Irrelevant playing in his first start. And I attribute a lot of that to Kyle Shanahan and the weapons around him. But for what he was expected to do against a Tom Brady, I don't think it could have went better for him.
I agree.
It's so true.
So what's your prediction for tonight? Settle the tie between Lauren and I.
Yeah, we're on opposite sides for our pod.
Think wisely before you speak, Bobby.
2017 San Fran.
That's fine for me.
So he still covers the spread. Because I'm taking the 3.5.
All that matters.
You
can get a 3 now, Lauren. You don't have to lay 3.5 unless you really want to. You
Well,
can
then I
lay
could
3.
push.
It is
Yeah,
available.
I'm laying 3. I'm laying 3.
Yeah.
Well,
I just
I'm not going to get into that till I play of the day. But
I never bought in on Gino. I know he's been the comeback player of the year and his story and the rookies and the offensive line for Seattle. I just never bought into it. And I think we're starting to see it over the last few weeks. They had a peak. It's starting to fizzle out. Give me Shanahan with a reason to really, Shanahan needs this game. They want a top 3 seed in the NFC. So I
Seattle
would
needs
lean
this
Debo.
game. Their playoff hopes are hanging by a thread. They
And
both
I
need
think
the
the
game.
thread,
Don't give me that
yes,
argument.
I'm not buying
I,
on Seattle. Sorry.
That's fair.
yeah,
That's fair. But to say that the Niners need the game more that's not true. The Seattle Seahawks are
both
7-6, and their playoff hopes are hanging by a thread.
both teams need this game at this
Both
point.
teams
Both
need
teams
the
need this
game.
game
Both
for
teams need
different
the game.
reasons. Both teams need
Correct.
the game for different
Absolutely.
reasons at this point. I just like the way that the 49ers are trending. One, health-wise, besides Debo, obviously, and two, just like the way that they're playing right now, rather than the Seahawks, who have been playing like crap since they got back from Germany. I don't know what happened over there in Germany. Das Boot, they had too many beers, they had too many boots. But, since then, they haven't been the same Seahawks team that we saw the first 7 weeks of the season. So we'll see what happens in this game tonight. Bobby Stanley, we so appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for giving us all of your takes. We'll be talking to you on Sunday for more Week 15 props.
Later, guys. Best of luck.
Peace. That is Bobby Stanley. All right, let's take it from men to boys, Jared. College football. We have 2 bowl games heating up this weekend. First of all, let's talk about Fresno State taking on Washington State. Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. Fresno State laying 3.5 points. This one, the total set at 52. Fresno State coming off of a win in the MWC championship game. They were able to take advantage of a close game. They broke things open in the fourth quarter against Boise State. Washington State, their team that was hot and then cold this year. They won 3 straight games 2 separate times, but they also had a 3-game losing streak at one point of the season. They have offensive prowess, Cameron Ward, Nakia Watson. Who do you see coming out on top of this one?
Yeah, fun game. Fresno got bought up pretty quickly, and then the market kind of moved back down towards Washington State a little bit, and now Fresno State is the soup du jour. I think I saw it move through the 3. Yeah, it moved through the 3 yesterday, 2 days ago, excuse me. So, yeah, market pretty hot and heavy on Fresno State here. And I think the motivational edge goes to Fresno State. Washington State is like it's like a train station right now. Everyone's leaving town. Offensive coordinator gone, defensive coordinator gone. 2 of their best pass catchers transfer portal. You've got the head coach, Jake Dickert, who is coming out publicly saying that coaches and parents and players are calling his parents of players of parents. It's like it's a disaster with he's accusing teams of poaching his players. And I guess that's just what the transfer portal is now. But it's a mess right now for Washington State. So we'll see what they have in terms of their get up for this game. And again, when you're handicapping bowl games, my nerd numbers mean very little if A, half the guys playing in those games that accumulated the nerd numbers aren't playing in the bowl game. And B, if these guys don't want to be there. And I don't know how up for this game Washington State will be. I think Fresno will be up for this game. It's first of all, Jake Hayner's an absolute rock star. Second of all, this is I love Power 5 when you're facing a Power 5 opponent, and I know the Pac-12, maybe not like the most powerful of the 5, but still, Fresno State, little old Fresno State, Mountain West playing up to play a Pac-12 team. They're going to be up for this game. So I think that's where my head's at here. But again, now that it's moved through the 3, significantly less value on Fresno State. I think the steam has been profitable. I have to go back and look last year, but games that moved significantly in bowl season tended to cover more often than they didn't. So follow the steam, even though you're quote unquote betting a bad number. I still think the motivation matters a little bit more than the traditional numbers might in bowl season. So I'd feel comfortable still playing Fresno State. I think Fresno State wins the game.
Yeah, I'm actually laying the points with Fresno State as well. I mean, you look at their
Nice.
receiving core. Jake Haener has been phenomenal this season, 18 touchdowns in 9 games to only 3 receptions that he's thrown. I feel like this is one of those games that comes down to, can Washington State slow down Fresno's offense? And if Fresno State can slow/shut down Watson Ward, that duo, it's not even going to be a close game. I feel like they're on a hotter run right now. I tend to lean them. The spread is pretty low, and the weather's going to be perfect, so offenses can take advantage through the air. So I feel like that kind of favors Fresno State in this spot. Also, if you like a trend, the under is 5-1 in Washington State's last 6 bowl games. So we'll see what happens in this spot. And I also look at Washington State against top 25 competition this season. They're 1-4. So tend to lean Fresno State here. The other one, let's look at the Cure Bowl. Troy taking on your Roadrunners and UTSA. Troy's laying 1.5. That total set 55.5. Troy and their strong defense landed themselves the Sun Belt title. The Trojans are 8th in the nation in points allowed at 17.5, 19th in the nation in total yards allowed. Troy has won 4 consecutive bowl games. They're 5-3 overall. They haven't played in a bowl game though since 2018. So I feel like they're going to be pretty hungry in this spot. And with UTSA, they're looking for their first bowl victory ever. They're 0-3 in bowl games. Last year they lost to SDSU in the Frisco Bowl. I feel like this game, it comes down to UTSA's offense against Troy's defense. Who do you think stands stronger in this one?
Yeah, hell of a game here. I think this is my favorite matchup of this opening stretch of bowl games. You get Troy, who maybe is one of the more underrated group of 5 teams in the country. I mean, you take away, and we were on them in the Sun Belt title. We had a money line parlay tied to them. I gave them out straight, and it was a resounding win for them against Coastal, that was kind of an easy handicap. This one's a little trickier because you've got a much different offense that they're facing, an offense that they have never faced before. I think UTSA has one of the more unique offenses in the country because they have a quarterback. First of all, he's a lefty. And ask any defensive coordinator scheming for a lefty, it's like everything's opposite. Usually you're trying to get quarterbacks to roll to their left. You're trying to funnel mobile quarterbacks away from their strong side. Well, this is the opposite. It's like, when you go south of the border in Australia and the toilet spins in the other direction, like it's a little unsettling. I would imagine. I've never been, but I would imagine that's probably a little unsettling. The first time you flush your toilet down in Australia, but that has nothing to do with this handicap. What does? Frank Clark coming back for his 7th season of eligibility, I think is very motivationally strong for UTSA. And that I would imagine that's going to be a positive. I also could see it being a negative because UTSA is like, okay, we got the band back together for another year. This game isn't as important as our future goals. But then on the other side, I told you, Troy, man, like you take away that App State Hail Mary, which was one of the flukiest plays, perhaps the flukiest play in college football all season. And Troy is a 1-loss team to Ole Miss, and that game was relatively close. So I really think Troy might be the best group of 5 team playing this week. And that's why the market's flipped. It opened Troy +1. We're now sitting at -1. It's not a huge move. Win probability-wise, it's like 2%. So I'm not going to look too much into that. But the market has been pretty hot on Troy since the open of this line about 10 days ago. So I think that would be my initial lean. But I'll be honest, I really like this UTSA team a lot. Frank Clark and this offense is legit. And the fact that the total has ticked up a couple of points since the open tells me this might be an offensive game. And UTSA's offense might have the final word. So I haven't picked it yet. I'll pick it tomorrow when I do the bowl thread because the game's tomorrow afternoon. I think I'm leaning UTSA, and I think that might be my best bet of tomorrow. We'll see. But I think I like the Roadrunners here. I've been hot and heavy on this Roadrunners team all year. Meet. So why stop now?
Yeah, I mean, I look at this game and it's really difficult. I might stay away from this one, but both teams, I mean, it's a battle of 2 different strengths, right? Like you look at Troy, their senior linebacker and Carlton Marshall, he was named the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. He has 121 tackles on the year, Jared, and he holds the all-time FBS record with 563 tackles. We talk about Micah Parsons, but this dude is that dude in college football this year. And then you look at Frank Harris, quarterback, UTSA, 71.1% completion rate, 429 passes. He's third nationally in total yardage. With 342.5 per game. Their team is 9th in the FBS in total yards gained, 12th in scoring offense. So it truly is just defense and an offense and who could be stronger in this game. You look at UTSA, 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games. Troy is also 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games. This comes down for me to motivation factor. UTSA 0-3 in bowl games. And then Troy, they haven't been to a bowl game since 2018. So we'll see who comes out hot. We'll see who comes out stronger. That's going to be a fun matchup. Bowl season just beginning this weekend. I cannot even wait. Before we get into our best bets of the day, Let's Bet It is presented by our friends at Superbook Sports. Make sure to go to superbook.com or download the app today. This season, Sundays are for safeties at Superbook. Just place a $100 pregame bet on any spread or any total. And if there's a safety scored in any game on Sunday, you, my friends, get a $50 bonus. Superbook is available in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Nevada, New Jersey, and Tennessee. And they also have a great NFL podcast called Betting with the Barbers, featuring Rondé and Tiki Barber alongside host Ron Kruk. Rondé was nice enough to share one of his favorite picks from this week's episode with Pickswise Nation. Take a listen.
Rondé, several key divisional matchups in Week 15 with playoff implications. Let's look at the AFC East. The number 1 seed, Buffalo Bills, playing host to division rival Miami, who are 2 games behind the Bills, barely hanging on to that number 6 seed. Who are you going with in this one?
All right, Pickswise, you have to take the Buffalo Bills here. They are the much better team. Miami is reeling right now. Tua's coming off a game last week where he completed only 10 passes. They're struggling on both sides of the football. And look, this Buffalo Bills team, AFC East leading Buffalo Bills, are leading for a reason. Their defense is starting to get it together. Josh Allen's taking care of the football. I just don't see this Miami team going on the road in 20-plus degree weather and finding a way to win after being on the West Coast 2 weeks in a row.
NFL schedule makers hate the Dolphins. In California, back-to-back weeks, now to Buffalo. They hate the cold weather. They'll bring their heaters, of course, for the bench, but it's not going to help them. I'm taking Buffalo. Although they have not been covering lately, I'm going to lay the touchdown. Give me the Bills. Pickswise, back to you.
Thanks so much, gents. Be sure to check out Betting with the Barbers every Thursday on all podcast platforms. Jared, what do you think about Rondé siding with the Bulls Sunday?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean,
I said Bulls, Bills.
The Bulls and the Bears.
The Bulls,
and the Bulls.
the Bears, the Bills.
Do the Chris Farley.
No, seriously.
I think Rondé's onto something with Tua in cold weather. So if you recall last year, it was his only sub 40-degree game of his entire career. And he got his ass whooped, 34-3 in Tennessee, in Nashville. So that's noteworthy. I think the conditions are going to be worse this week in Buffalo than they were in Nashville last year. I want to say it was in the 30s, right? When you think about Nashville compared to Buffalo, the climate's a little more moderate in Smashville. But the Dolphins got smashed in that game. And I think that scares me, because if Tua in perfect conditions in a dome or a quasi dome, I know the Chargers SoFi Stadium's not a full dome, right? They had a lightning delay last year, but mostly in perfect conditions. 10 for 28, a negative 5% completion percentage over expectation in his last 3 games. So Tua is trending down in a big way. And if he's not accurate in ideal conditions, I don't think he's going to be accurate in this game. And the Bills defense, listen, Miami has kind of put their cards on the table the first 10 weeks or so. Here's what we like to do. Mike McDaniel, attack deep middle. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, over the top. Well, now teams are taking that away, and they're kind of playing outside leverage, and they're making Tua throw outside the hashes, and it's been a struggle. So, yeah, I think Buffalo's defense should have a good game here. And then you have to ask yourself, can Josh Allen put up enough points to cover? They haven't been covering lately. They didn't cover against the Jets. But I think this might be the game where you see a little bit more separation if Tua really struggles. And the Dolphins defense is not as stout as the Jets defense is. So I think it could be a different pace to this game on Saturday than what we saw with the Jets and the Bills last week.
We're going to be breaking all of that down on Pickswise Playbook Week 15. It's going live today at 1 p.m., so make sure to tune in. It's myself, Gerard, and our guy, Tank. So make sure to tune into that, 1 p.m. All right, Pickswise.com. Who do we have for our 3-star play of the day?
Yeah, we got a little bit on here. We got a few. Actually, I take that back. We have absolutely nothing on here for today.
Perfect. But we'll have more tomorrow
tomorrow
and more this weekend. So make sure to tune in. Or we'll check it out.
We have a lot for
Pickswise.com. Yeah. All right, let's get into our best bets of the day. This is what I've been waiting for. We are on opposite sides, but you know what? Both of us have a chance of being right here. So I'll let you go first. You tell me about your Seahawks, and I'll tell you about my Niners.
Yeah, both of us have a little bit of a chance to be right. Best case scenario is I would win, you would push. That would be the best case for both of us. Obviously, best case for you would be a resounding win, and same for me. But I want to say this game fits exactly what my vibe has been for the NFL over the last month, which is just you have to sell these teams off of their best performances. And you have to buy teams off of their worst performances. And that's exactly what we have in this spot. I don't see Brock Purdy going on the road in arguably the toughest environment to play in the NFL and being as productive, as efficient, as polished as he was in his first start at home against the Bucs defense that was just lethargic. I mean, we thought they weren't going to have a lot left in the tank after expending every ounce of energy possible just 6 days prior on Monday night to beat the Saints, and then having to go all the way out west and face a really good Niners team. And then they were not up for that challenge. And now San Francisco is kind of in that same boat. They played a really good game and it was a resounding win. And now they have to go on the road on a short week and continue that level. And I don't know if they're gonna keep it. Clef TA did write this game up for the site. He is on the Seahawks plus 3.5. He made some interesting, it's not his most strong conviction play, but he did make some very interesting points why Seattle would cover. The biggest one being a little bit of attrition for the Niners, especially up front, defensive tackles, a couple of key rotational pieces in the secondary also are injured in this game. And then again, the Geno Smith narrative has been really fun this year. He has come back down to earth a little bit, but he hasn't been playing with a healthy Kenneth Walker the last couple of weeks. I think Kenneth Walker will give a very strong effort tonight. I don't know how healthy he really is, but I'm hoping that he is healthy enough to give you a strong effort. Bobby thinks he is because he's betting him to score a touchdown. And then again, it really the crux of this is how Brock Purdy performs against the Seahawks defense that has looked really bad lately. I mean, they make no mistake about it. They're a bottom 10 defense, and they've been playing more like a bottom 5 defense over the last couple of weeks. But can the home environment in prime time with your season on the line against your division rival, who, by the way, the Seattle numbers against San Francisco have been unbelievable. The Seahawks are 17-4 against the Niners since 2012, including the playoffs. And of course, it was 17-3 until a few weeks ago when San Francisco won the first game between these teams. So, and the Niners haven't swept this series since 2002. So there's just a lot of, bigger trends, but also the micro handicap. Brock Purdy on the road in his second career start, his first road start. I don't see it going as well as it did on Sunday. And I think that's why I'll take the 3.5 with Seattle.
I like it, but I also like the 49ers laying 3 points
like
here.
You don't like it. You don't like it. If you liked it, you'd be nailing it.
Point. Yeah, so I like the 49ers laying 3 in this spot. I loved Brock Purdy and what I saw from him last week over Tom Brady and the Bucs. 16 of 21, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown too. And the Seahawks lost to the Panthers in week 14. I just feel like we have not seen the same Seahawks team since they played in Germany against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 1-3 since then, including that game in Germany, and they're just hanging on to a playoff spot right now. I look at the Seahawks defense, like you talked about. They're allowing an average of 407.7 yards per game over their last 3 games. They gave up 223 rushing yards to the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey is looking at that, and he's like, this is a really good spot for me to be able to take advantage. I think this is going to be the Christian McCaffrey game more than the Brock Purdy game. But Brock Purdy does seem like the real deal to me right now. He looked extremely poised under pressure. He fit well into that offense with the pieces that are around him. And he's the first quarterback that made his career start against Tom Brady and actually won. The previous 7 had lost in this spot. I look at back to week 2 where the 49ers torched Seattle 27-7. The Seahawks defense hasn't been great, keeps getting worse. The 49ers defense keeps getting better and continues to improve. They've only allowed an average of 8 points on 297 yards over the last 3 games. This is a team that wants to clinch a playoff berth. They want to be top 3 in the NFC. It's a motivation factor for me. Like, both teams really need this win. They both need it for different reasons. And I just side San Francisco here with the trend that they're on. I'm just taking the hotter team at this point. But it could be a good spot also, like you said, for Seattle to bounce back. They need to win this game to be able to keep their season alive. So it's kind of a toss-up at this point. I just feel like the 49ers offense and the skill and the power that they have is going to be able to take advantage of a Seattle Seahawks defense that, one, hasn't really been good all season, but 2, has really been struggling, especially over the last 3 weeks since getting back from Germany. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out. Thursday Night Football, kicking off Week 15. Make sure, guys, to tune into Pickswise Playbook. We have that live at 1 p.m. coming to you right here through Twitter, YouTube, whatever you want to get it through. Make sure to check it out. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith, Lauren Jabbar. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.